Good morning. I'm the Reverend Jennifer Brower, and on behalf of my colleagues on the ministry team here at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock, the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, the Reverend Jay Brooks, and our student minister, Aaliyah Shinbro, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you today to our service. As people of the Unitarian Universalist tradition, we affirm the spirit of life that dwells uniquely within each of us. We honor the diversity of thought and feeling, theological and philosophical beliefs brought together in our gathering, and we affirm the use of reason and direct experience in our search for truth and meaning. Today is our annual Hinge of the Year sharing service, when members of the congregation share their reflections, when we look back on what has been in the year just ended, and we look forward to what may yet come in the year just beginning. It is not without significance that the month of January takes its name from the two-faced Roman god Janus. Janus, the god of doorways and beginnings, with one face looking toward the new year, and the other looking back toward what has transpired. At this Hinge time, we have the gift of hearing from the hearts and minds of members of the congregation and 3 of our music professionals. Some will offer their spoken reflections upon 2020, or their thoughts on the year just beginning. Others have stories to tell, poems to recite, songs to sing, a visual reflection, and blessings as well. As we settle into this time, I invite you to center yourself as we listen to our gifted pianist, Nathaniel Lanasa. Welcome to our service today.
Our opening words are those of Max Coots. As we enter into this shared time, I offer you reading number 489 in our hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, which we sometimes refer to as the Gray Hymnal. When love is felt or fear is known, when holidays and holy days and such times come, when anniversaries arrive by calendar or consciousness, when seasons come as seasons do, old and known, but somehow new, when lives are born or people die, when something sacred sensed in soil or sky, mark the time. Respond with thought or prayer, smile or grief. Let nothing slip between the fingers of the mind, for all of these are holy things we will not, cannot find again.
I share with you the words by Marjorie Montgomery. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. Through our various devices, we are gathered in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. The hymn for today's service is hymn number 1 in Singing the Living Traditions. Although not the actual title of the hymn, we have chosen to call it Prayer for Your House. The hymn sings of hope for our shared sacred worship space and for the life of our congregation. But it is also a prayer for our individual dwellings. These days, our homes are also our house of worship. We hope you will join in singing. The lyrics will be shown on your screen. Standing between 2020 and 2021, I was asked to share what was especially meaningful this year, to share my reflections. The first thought that came to mind was the pandemic and how our lives, our way of life, in a matter of days, was altered, probably forever. We will never get back the time that was lost, the way we spent doing things year after year. We will never get back the lives lost during the pandemic, whether it was through the virus or by other means, because healthcare was less than because of the virus. I can't help but feel heartbroken for those who have lost jobs, businesses, homes. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. 2020 was a bleak year. It was as if a blanket of darkness just settled upon the whole earth. I heard the phrase, "I can't wait until 2020 is over," about 1 billion times. Reflecting, I did see positives that occurred during 2020. I believe we developed a deeper respect and awareness for all our dedicated workers, not just healthcare workers, but the truck drivers that delivered food, the laborers gathered the food, the people that delivered meals to the elderly and the infirmed, the postal worker. I can go on and on. Earlier on, there wasn't much traffic during those early days of the pandemic, and I noticed how the earth was healing. The sky was bluer because there was no pollution. You saw more birds and animals just mingling around. Zoom, as tiring as it can be, provided a means of staying in touch with family, friends, members of UUCSR and other congregations. Zoom allowed us and enabled us to stay engaged, keep in touch. It helped deepen friendships that were already existing and inspired developing new friendships. Looking towards 2021, I know realistically a magic genie will not drop down with the New Year's Eve ball and just erase COVID and all the other problems. But the medical profession is making strides. Hopefully, we as a society, all of us will become more proactive and an agent of change to curtail or eradicate this virus. I'm going into 2021, yes, definitely, with some sorrows, but also with gratitude and blessings. Those that know me know one of my sentences when you ask me, how are you, is, I am blessed to be 6 feet above ground. I am going into 2021 with hope and faith that our lives will be on the path of new beginnings. I try to take time to look for signs. They're all around us if we just take a minute and be aware. The other day I was on yet another Zoom meeting, and I happened to look out my window. There, perched on the cold, bare branch, stood 2 beautiful blue jays. Were those 2 blue jays a gift? Absolutely. Were those 2 blue jays a sign? No doubt. Some Native American cultures believe the blue jay is a sign of endurance, strength, and purity of the soul. So again, when I look towards 2021, I am going in with hope, faith, and belief. I have faith and I believe that we are going to be together again as family, friends, congregants. We're going to laugh, break bread, pray, and worship together. I hope we will begin to heal as individuals, as people, as a planet and a nation. I would like to end my journey's reflections with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I hope I am pronouncing his name correctly. Hope is important because it makes the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. May everyone's new year be full of blessings. Aho.
Hello and Happy New Year. My name is Suzanne Viverito, and I'm honored to share my reflections on what hinging from last year to this new year mean to me. When I first heard the word hinging, my vision, my image was just, well, that connects one to another, and that's it. So I wanted to look for a deeper definition. And what I found was a point or circumstance on which subsequent events depend. So what I put into this moment will affect the next, right? So In this past year, as we've felt confined and questioning, is today the right day to go out the front door and go grocery shopping? Or we have to make these serious choices every day. And so oftentimes I would wake up in the morning and feel that confinement or that limitation. And then I came to a point where I wanted really to challenge that point of view. So I would have my cup of tea, and sometimes this would be my theme song. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On that clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. And it goes on. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. So all of a sudden, I would wake up in the morning and say, what can I hear today? What can I see today in the surroundings right around me? What kind of home have I made? What can I learn about myself? What can I share so that when the day comes, when the doors are wide open, what can I then bring out as my authentic self to share with the world? Happy New Year. Happy Hinge Day.
Hi, this is Brace Negron coming at you from Kingston, New York on Seed Song Farm. This song was recorded here at the farm with fellow farmers and volunteers, and it's about a song about perseverance in times of trouble and that things will eventually work themselves out. And I hope you enjoy it.
Keep your head up high. Rest your mind at ease. Don't let nothing get
I've chosen to read this morning two poems by the visionist, painter, poet, William Blake. They're two conflicting images of God, and in our complicated times, I'm thoughtful about what each represents. The Lamb by William Blake. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life, and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead? Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly, bright? Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice? Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek, and he is mild. He became a little child, I a child, and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. The second poem is called The Tiger. It's a much darker vision of God. Tiger, the tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings did he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? And when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
Hello, I'm Richard Bach, and I have a New Year's wish. Claire and I send our wishes for a happy and healthy New Year, celebrating the Christmas and Hanukkah holidays this year with a hope that the pandemic will end soon is a very good sign. Celebrating our 34th wedding anniversary this past week is another reason to be hopeful. And a few words from Jim Henson and the Muppets. This is what Kermit said. Yeah, well, I've got a dream too, but it's about singing and dancing and making people happy. That's the kind of dream that gets better and more people you share it with. And well, I found a whole bunch of friends who have the same dream, and it kind of makes us like a family. And he ends with, life is like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing. Keep pretending. We've done just about what we set out to do. Thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you. Happy New Year.
As we did in the month of December, as we enter into this new year, we continue to take up a collection for two organizations. The first I'd like to tell you about is the AIDS Center of Queens County. The AIDS Center of Queens County holds as its mission the task of enhancing the quality of life for individuals and couples and families living with and at risk for HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, and other chronic health conditions. ACQC offers a wide variety of community programs for people of all ages, from medical care to pharmacy support to holiday needs and holiday meals, which we've just recently collected for. ACQC helps to house the homeless. They offer programs for at-risk teens, and they are collecting clothing for folks who are in need of coats and boots and warm socks and mittens and all that good stuff. We also invite you to contribute to the NOSH program of the North Shore Soup Kitchen. The NOSH program was created in the face of COVID-19. On March 15, the NOSH program was developed by volunteers and staff to deliver meal kits to those who would have otherwise been coming in to the soup kitchen. The NOSH program volunteers are now delivering to 360 households each week. We invite you today to give generously to these two organizations, which I know we have been collecting for all through the month of December. But friends, remember, hunger knows no season. And friends in our neighborhood, acquaintances, those we pass on the street and see at the gas station are in need of our support and help. Whatever you can contribute makes a meaningful difference. We thank you for your generous donations. Information for making your contribution will be available on the screen.
I was asked to add some spoken word to my video. All I can think about was Humpty Dumpty. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Well, I hope that's not the case. I hope next year, 2021, I can share some toast and jam in person with my grandchildren.
Tell me the one about the virus again, then I'll go to bed.
But my girl, you're growing weary. Sleepy thoughts about your head.
That one's my favorite. Please, I promise. Just once more.
Okay. Snuggle down, my girl. But I know you all too well. This story starts before then, in a world I once would dwell. It was a world of waste and wonder, of poverty and plenty, back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. You see, people came up with companies to trade across the lands, but they swelled and got much bigger than we ever could have planned. We always had our wants, but now it got so quick. You could have anything you dreamed of in a day and with a click. We noticed families had stopped talking. That's not to say they never spoke, but the meaning must have melted and the work-life balance broke. And the children's eyes grew square and every toddler had a phone. They filtered out imperfections, but amidst the noise, they felt alone. And every day the skies grew thicker till you couldn't see the stars. So we flew in planes to find them, while down below, we filled our cars. We drove around all day in circles. We'd forgotten how to run. We swapped the grass for tarmac, shrunk the parks till there were none. We filled the sea with plastic because our waste was never capped, until each day when you went fishing, you'd pull them out already wrapped. And while we drank and smoked and gambled, our leader taught us why it's best to not upset the lobbies, more convenient to die. But then, in 2020, a new virus came our way. The governments reacted and told us all to hide away. But while we were all hidden amidst the fear and all the while, the people dusted off their instincts. They remembered how to smile. They started clapping to say thank you and calling up their mums. And while the car keys gathered dust, they would look forward to their runs. And with the skies less full of voyagers, the earth began to breathe. And the beaches bore new wildlife that scuttled off into the sea. Some people started dancing. Some were singing. Some were baking. We'd grown so used to bad news, but there was some good news in the making. And so, when we found the cure and were allowed to go outside, we all preferred the world we found to the one we'd left behind. Old habits became extinct, and they made way for the new. And every simple act of kindness was now given its due.
But why did it take us so long to bring the people back together?
Well, sometimes you've got to get sick, my girl, before you start feeling better. Lie down and dream of tomorrow and all the things that we can do. And who knows, if you dream hard enough, maybe some of them will come true. We now call it the Great Realization. And yes, since then, there have been many. But that's the story of how it started and why hindsight's 2020.
I chose to sing a piece called Una volta c'era un re, which is from Rossini's opera La Cenerentola, his version of the Cinderella story. This is the music that we hear Cinderella singing when we first meet her in the opera. She's singing to herself as she does her daily chores, a song about a king who grows lonely, tired of being alone, and decides to find his bride. And instead of choosing pomp or beauty, he chooses innocence and goodness. I think that after the year that we've all had with so many difficulties and challenges, we could really use a little fairy tale magic right about now. Una volta c'era un re che a star solo s'annoiò. Cerca, ritrovò, ma il volian sposar in tre. Cosa fa? bellezza, il fasto e la beltà. E alla fin scelse per sé l'innocenza. L'innocenza e la bontà. La 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 la, li 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 li. La la la.
What the pandemic has done for me is that it's forced me to analyze what exactly it is that I bring to the table. The table can be the job, the relationship, or overall task of being a fellow traveler on life's journey. Over this time, I know someone who wrote a novel, another who created a business, and yet another who produced a documentary. We are all masters of what may take a lifetime to learn. So I ask myself, what can I offer? I proffer this poem by Myra Brooks Welch. "'Twas battered and scarred, and the auctioneer thought it hardly worth his while to waste his time on the old violin, but he held it up with a smile. 'What am I bid, good people?' he cried. 'Who starts the bidding for me? $1, $1, do I hear two? $2, who makes it three? $3 once, $3 twice, going for three?' But no, from the room far back, a gray, bearded man came forward and picked up the bow. Then wiping the dust from the old violin and tightening up its strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as the angel sings. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, 'What now am I bid for this old violin?' as he left it aloft with its bow. 1,000, 1,000, do I hear two? 2,000, who makes it three? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice, going and gone,' said he. The audience cheered, but some of them cried, 'We just don't understand what changed its worth.' Swift came the reply, the touch of the master's hand. And many humans with life out of tune, all battered and bruised with hardship, is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like the old violin. A mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game that he travels on. He is going once, he is going twice, he is going and almost gone. But the master comes, and the foolish crowd never can quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that is wrought by the touch of a master's hand."
Greetings, my friends. This is Hugh Stevens. I'm a ship captain. I have had a lot of experience at sea ever since World War II. My friends ask me, as I'm 96, why I'm still teaching. This poem, called "The Bridge Builder" by Drumgoole, rather conveys my viewpoints. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him. But he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed a chasm deep and wide. Why build you this bridge at evening tide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followed after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him.
Hi. The song Step Out of the Shadows by Glenn Hansard really encapsulates my feelings, both about 2020 and about the year to come. Change is really scary and really, really hard. And I think that we all need to take this opportunity to take this slap in the face from 2020 and manifest the change that we want to see in the world. Happy New Year.
We're all bound by certain forces, the same as anyone. Step out of the shadows, my little one. There's a change that's surely coming, a will that will be done. Step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows, my little one? Silent river, roll on. When the levee's weak, you're gonna break it. Silent river, deep and long. Stay the road, you're gonna make it. Well, the flame's been handed on now to a new wave rising strong. Step out of the shadows, my little one. There's a balance to be righted. The road goes on and on. Step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows, my little one? Silent river, roll on. When the levee's weak, you're gonna break it. Silent river, overcome. Closer to the sea now, you're gonna make it. There's a lesson in this failing. The game goes on and on. Step out of the shadows, my little one. It's all out there for you waiting. If you're willing to become, step out of the shadows, my little one. Will you step out of the shadows?